Welcome to the family with
Packmaster Ralph W. Basham, MD.
Co-host with no toxic pants today, Catherine Brandt.
And Andy Brandt Bernard.
What the hell does that mean? No toxic pants?
You don't remember yesterday?
Toxic
I was
pants.
talking about polyester.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It's toxic to your system. They're
Polyester
thinking that
is-
that's why men are having low sperm counts is from
Polyester pants.
microplastics getting in your bloodstream.
It's because of rampant obesity.
Yeah, I think
I
that
mean-
might be closer to the
Okay,
truth.
I thought women got more estrogen if you're heavier.
No,
Fat
being
gives you-
obese messes with your endocrine system. So all the hormone levels, no matter who you are going to be off. It's not just like, fat gives you more estrogen or less estrogen or whatever. It just makes everything go a little haywire.
Yeah.
And depending on the person, that's not true of everyone. But some people can be 15 pounds overweight and they become infertile. And some people can be 150 pounds overweight and they don't. There's no real rhyme or reason to it, but basically being overweight is going to mess with your hormone levels to some degree.
It's at the risk of using a poor term, it's a black box kind of a thing where no one really understands fertility 100%. Just like
That's true.
Billy Martin said about baseball. No one understands the game of baseball. No one understands fertility completely. And
Right.
whether it's the guy, whether it's the gal, whether it, whether
never
it's
know.
her physical appearance, his physical appearance, her reaction to his physical appearance, his reaction to her physical appearance, all those things
Genetics, epigenetics.
are just, it's just a very complex system.
It is. Did you know, for example, that the ovaries are not connected to the fallopian tubes?
Yeah, I knew
Oh,
that.
of course, that's common knowledge.
The egg just
Here we go.
Floats.
floats
I know, it just floats
inside
around.
your abdomen, and
No,
hopefully
it's like a little
the
drain pipe.
fallopian. It's insane
I know.
how these things work at all.
Yeah, well, the fallopian tubes, they have the structure that it sort of drapes over
mean, they
the
do,
ovaries
but,
and collects
But
collects
still.
the
One in
collects the egg.
10,000 times it doesn't, and that's
Yeah, that's when-
good.
Yeah.
Well, women don't release 8 billion eggs.
They actually do.
Not at one time.
Well, not they release one at a time, but they release one every month for 30 years.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the hormone receptors and all that kind of, I think, guided into the right spot.
Usually, but
Yeah.
not always. That's how you get ectopic pregnancies.
That's true.
There are instances of women who have gotten pregnant in their abdomen,
Yeah, of course.
the fetus calcified because it's not supposed to be there,
That's
and they didn't
gross.
even know it was there. They have this calcified fetus just like next to their organs their whole lives, and they had no idea.
Really?
Yep. It's
Oh,
a really
That's-
interesting system.
some
yeah.
things you don't want to know.
But that's right. It was. I had a patient one time. She was infertile throughout her 20s. Tried IVF multiple times, didn't work. Gave up on birth control. 3, 4, 5 years. Early 30s, early mid 30s. She decided she was going to have some cosmetic surgery. She had the cosmetic surgery. Pregnant with twins. 6 months later,
Why?
because
Huh.
she felt better about herself.
Oh,
She felt more confident.
Mm.
Maybe her
Oh.
husband saw her in
Oh.
a different, more feminine light.
more stooping.
Yeah, well,
Oh, what are you staring at me for?
well, yeah,
Oh, you staring at me.
well, what the-
Well, I mean, like oxytocin is one of the most important hormones when it comes to pregnancy. And if there's not enough oxytocin, things are designed not to work.
Yeah.
So it's like, if there's more attraction there, you got more oxytocin, there you go.
So for our medical segment,
There, we got our medical segment in now.
Well, how about
and
Let's
our
talk
own
about the
doctor.
bowel.
How about our technology
Right.
segment? We're going to have to give a moment of silence to the podcast computer.
Why?
I'm going to be replacing it after the show today.
What?
Oh, I heard it sucks.
It blue screened yesterday after
Oh,
the family.
dear.
It blue screened today during the morning show.
Uh-oh.
And apparently the mouse and keyboard stopped working during the morning show yesterday. So
Really?
Oh.
the motherboard is on its way out. And once that happens, these components are 8 years old. It's probably about time anyway.
it's
But
worth about 39 cents.
yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
even going to try to sell this thing. I'm just going to try recycle it.
I
I think.
just love
Yeah.
that. And every time I want to get rid of a computer, you go on that trade-in value.
Oh, there's no
Oh,
trade-in.
up to $500,
Yeah.
$600. And you put in all your stuff. It's like
Mhm.
$0.
If it's
for
more
you.
than- If it's more than 3 years old, it's probably close to worthless. unless it's got a really high-end GPU in it.
But what doesn't
this-
make any sense is the guts in computers really don't change, right?
Oh, they do.
Oh,
Every
they
year
No,
they
but I mean
change.
the metals and stuff.
Oh, well,
There's not that much actually.
There's precious
Oh.
metals.
There's gold in there, but it's like what 1 nanogram maybe.
Oh,
You'd have to basically get a truck full of CPUs to get enough gold out of it to
You're fading
sell.
in and out. Your mic.
I am,
I can hardly hear you.
unless
really?
well,
No,
maybe
you're fine.
I
maybe
think
your
you're-
headphones are going.
Oh, wait a second. Maybe I just 1 second.
you got to tune it.
They need to be retuned.
Retune.
I need to pump hot glue into those tuner knobs so they never move.
Pumping hot glue.
Mhm.
Well, if they're well, you've got the wireless one. They could just be the battery could be dying.
That is true. They could be dying.
Pumping
So,
hot glue. Is that real title or not?
yeah, yeah.
I hope not.
Excuse me.
What? Are you going to be okay over there?
Just got a little tickle in my throat.
Boy, every day I cross my legs and every day I unplug the computer.
I think you'd learn.
You think I'd learn my lesson? Wouldn't you think?
I thought today was going to be cooler, so I put a sweater on, and now I'm too warm.
Oh, it's gonna be.
What is it today?
Pleasant day. A pleasant day.
Yeah, 80s we've been having. This is
I know.
crazy.
It's insane.
Mid-late October weather.
But it's going to be in
Unbelievable.
the 40s starting in like a day or two. So
That's
and
when we pack the car.
I think that's fall is officially here tomorrow.
Bye bye.
Fall's officially here tomorrow.
Well, I mean, semi-officially.
Oh, the equinox is
No,
happening?
the equinox was a month ago, but we've been having an
Oh.
unseasonably warm fall. But
That's true.
in Minnesota, fall to me means like 50 degrees.
This is our indigenous summer.
Yeah,
Yes.
it sure is.
Our indigenous
Is it?
summer.
Yeah.
Yes,
It used to be
exactly.
after a freeze, right? Right? Then it was.
I don't know.
In the
Well,
old
we had
days-
we had our freeze. We had
Yeah,
our
we
freeze.
had
So
our
this is our
freeze.
indigenous summer, or as Frank, elder of the Yurok tribe, would say, Indian summer.
Oh, he does
Mm.
say Indian summer?
yeah,
Who says that?
it was, we heard a story from an elder on the Yurok reservation, the tribe in the Mendocino County, up north of Yurok, not Yurok, up north of Eureka. And he was telling us a story in the evening. It was just a legend story that was
Mhm.
traditional passed on. And every time he talked about he was speaking in English rather than Yurok. Every time he talked about Native Americans, he said, "Oh, those Indians." Every
Yeah.
single time. And I said, "Well, why are we stepping
Yeah.
around?" And he wasn't using it, in the familiar term as Black people might use
Right.
the N-word. The different deal
Oh.
entirely. He was just referring to, oh, those Indians over there, they grew great tobacco, blah blah blah, that kind of thing,
Oh.
which wasn't tobacco, but
Whatever it was.
So I have a question for you. So that whole argument that calling people, that it was never because they thought they were in India.
oh, was it?
I think
thought
it
it was.
was.
Yeah,
That's what they're trying
Oh.
to say it was.
That's what they've been saying for
yeah, that was the whole point. He was,
Would that have been
600 years.
Christopher Columbus?
Yes.
yep, he was
That
supposed
he
to.
thought supposed to go to India and he thought he was in India.
Well,
Anyway.
But we
probab-
all know that actually the Greeks got there first and they just didn't get any credit for
That's
it.
what happened. The Greeks.
2,000 years ago, they reached America.
I was told by Native Americans when I was a kid that Indian came from Indio or with God.
Huh.
So you think they just made that up?
Deal is
Indian.
it? Does that mean
there's
with
a
God?
lot of
Yeah, with
weird
God, yeah.
information
Yeah,
about
sure is.
Indians in America.
You can't trust anything that happened more than a week ago.
You mean like Kostaki's predictions? You mean stuff like that? Kostaki's happening in the Greek world.
Yeah, the Greeks are fine. I'm sure they're
The
still
Greeks
broke,
are fine.
but they're never had much money in the first place, so it's not much of a drop
It's
off.
true. They never had a god of money. They had the forge, they had the hearth, but no money. There's their
Right.
problem right there.
War, wisdom, we got gods of lots of
exactly.
stuff, but
Well, I
not
guess if you-
banking.
You do enough war, you
No
get money
banking.
that way, right?
No banking, God.
Yeah, right. We should have had a banking god. That would have helped.
The god of banking.
God of strings.
Well, that is true.
Did
Usuros. There you go.
Usury, yeah, that's right. Good reference.
What is
The god of usury.
What is the big time Greek restaurant in Minnesota now? Because it used to be.
Oh, I don't
It's
know.
Greek to me down on Lake
I
Street.
thought we
Is it-
still had a Greek to me. Don't
Is
we?
it still there?
I thought it moved.
It's Greek
but
to me
maybe-
on
I don't know.
Langdale or on Lake Street. I mean,
I
have to
don't go-
look that
I don't go
up.
in that region too much anymore.
That was a great restaurant. I used to
Out of my
love
zip
going in
code.
Getting me hungry with some spanakopita nuts.
Mm.
there.
Ichio, domadas.
I used to eat so many dolmas.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
I would just buy can after can and just eat them.
Yep, you
Oh,
did.
Good stuff.
if you get a
So
chance, that's the thing that swings the most, depending on how and where they're made. If you
There
can
are-
find them,
Yeah.
if you can find them in a Greek restaurant, they're not from a can, like an old lady wearing a black dress
Mhm.
in the back making those.
She has to have a black dress on.
Black dress.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the cliche I have in my head, because when the husbands die, the women wear black.
Yeah, like
Ah.
forever, right?
Yes, forever in
Yeah.
some places. Yes, it's a little much, but anyway, I envision the old ladies in the black dresses. That's a very labor intensive thing, by the way, rolling all those separate things in grape leaves.
Mhm.
Right.
Even
leaf
even
fruit.
the hardcore, women who cook mostly as sort of their mainstay, they're like, the domadas is a pain in the ass. That one's a lot of work. But yeah, if you can get fresh made domadas, with the lemon sauce,
Lemon
Yep.
sauce.
it's awesome.
Yep.
Listen to you guys.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's no lobster and eggs, but it's good.
Soft eggs and lobster, baby.
Oh
Or-
man, I never even
Yeah.
heard of that till I
or
went to your
truffle
place.
truffle eggs, truffle scrambled eggs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's a mainstay in southern France, northern Italy.
that's a grown up taste. Yeah.
Indeed.
Good.
Well, should we do 47 Deshaun Watson jokes? That's why I came here.
Hey, only 47?
That's what I'm here for. Browns controversial quarterback Deshaun Watson went down with a season-ending injury. It was non-contact, unless you count karma. Karma may have had a hand in this one.
Ooh.
I hate to add insult to injury. Nah, not with this guy. I'm going to enjoy it. 2,600 sexual assault lawsuits. Here comes some more
Oh.
insults.
Does he really have
What?
tons of them?
I'm exaggerating, but
Well, I know that, but he has tons of them, obviously.
I think it's in the 20s.
Oh,
and
God.
yeah, it's ugly. I mean, he's at least a gigantic douche, right? He's like a sexist piggy. That's at the bottom of the range. And then the top of the range is like Weinstein level monster. He's somewhere in there. It's hard to know
Yes.
exactly where, but I've been rooting against him for a long time. I'm glad you don't wish injury on anybody, but I'm glad that the whole story blew up and it's a disaster for the Browns.
Well, how long has this been going on, this story?
Well, depends how you define it, but he was moved out of Houston a couple years ago, in part because of this scandal, and
And then
things
picked up by someone else. Amazing.
Yep.
not only picked up, they gave him the largest guaranteed contract in NFL history, which was a terrible mistake. At the time, I was screaming, "This is a horrific choice!" And they gave up 3 first-round draft picks. It's easily the worst trade in NFL history.
Man.
God.
And not only was he a terrible face of the franchise because of all this awfulness, the last year or so he's been terrible at football too. So it's been like all the strikes. And Baker Mayfield, who they sort of kicked out of town, went to Tampa, and he turned into a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, they're doing well.
So I have a question. I know that this isn't funny, but so when an NFL guy like this guy is just a horrid human being, and they're obviously protecting him to keep him, they
Right.
think that his value is so great that they're going to just try it. Do they defend him? Does the NFL defend him in this stuff?
Not as such. In fact, they gave him a 10-game suspension, and when you get a suspension in the NFL, you lose the salary for those games. So they gave him a very serious suspension. But again, you can always debate what's commiserate with the crime, and how, you could argue that he should never play ever again.
Yes.
I think that's a fair argument. And I think if there was some video evidence, I don't think you would. I mean, you might remember the Ray Rice story, right? The guy who punched the girl in the elevator.
Yes.
That story came out, and there was this sort of like, you shouldn't be rough on your girlfriend kind of attitude. We were sort of edging around.
Like punching him in the face.
Kiss,
And then
kiss,
when the
kiss.
video came out, it was like, oh, you're gone forever. So for some reason, Americans like their video proof. Like an allegation, a suggestion, a confirmation that you're being a monster is not enough. But if we see it, then you're done.
That's that cognitive dissonance working overtime.
Well, no, there's a pretty storied history of people being accused of things, and later we're like, oh, we probably shouldn't have killed them.
Yeah.
Well,
so there is that.
Yeah, I hear you. If you see video evidence, it does feel
It's
like
now we can kill him.
Right.
I have a question for everyone.
Yeah.
So you're in an elevator and you're there with your girlfriend and she somehow pisses you off and you punch her in the face. How do you ever go home and fall asleep?
Right.
Because I know certain people in my life, if I ever did something like that, I'd never wake up again.
Right.
Well, I think it's at some levels, the girlfriends are girlfriends because of who they are and how much they're making, and they don't want that to go away.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Is tomorrow he buys her a $50,000 new car. That's why.
Right.
Yes.
And in that story, he punched her in the face. She collapsed in the elevator, passed out. He dragged her out of the elevator by her feet.
Oh, God.
And the next year they got married.
Oh, of course they did.
There you go.
Smart decision making from everybody.
But to speak to your point about what the NFL does, he never played another down, ever.
No.
And he was a great player. I mean, he was a standout star in the NFL. So
punching a woman or a child in the face, that just amazes me.
I agree. I mean, I understand wanting to punch a woman in the face.
Hey!
I've been there.
That's nice.
But you don't. That's the difference.
No, you don't. You're right.
Of course. So Watson was carted off the field. The cart. I'm just getting a message here. Breaking news. The cart just filed a lawsuit for sexual assault.
It did. Okay. Glad to hear that.
There's the definition of irony. Watson finally faces consequences, and it's non-contact. You'd think the consequences would fit the crime. No touching. It's like that classic. It's like a classic Twilight Zone episode. He finally has a real injury, and now no one is willing to give him a massage. It's a tough break.
Yeah. Understandable.
Time enough at last.
It's a ruptured Achilles. Even parts of Deshaun Watson's body are trying to escape this whole story. Achilles himself has come out to try to distance himself from Deshaun Watson. He's got the shield. Now you remember the Achilles story. Achilles was when he was a baby, his mother dipped him in the protective waters of the river Styx.
Yeah.
But she held him by the heel, and that's his one vulnerable spot, right? And you might not know that Deshaun Watson's mother dipped him in the river of temperance, but unfortunately she was holding him by the penis. Tough break.
Very good delivery on that one. I like the delivery.
Well done.
I like how the visual by the
by the penis. Where else are you going to get Greek mythology football comedy? I'm the only place for this sort of thing.
This is the only place.
Are there any teams named after Greek mythology?
I can't think of any. There's I think there's a team in Canada called the Argonauts, I believe.
Oh well, there you go.
That's Greek mythology.
Good old Jason.
That's the only one I can think of.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
And there's no professional teams named after Roman, except Roman mythology, except
we get the USC Trojans. It depends how you define that.
Oh, the other end, he makes a good point. The Titans technically are Greek mythology.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, I doubt that's what they're named after, but the word Titan does come from Greek mythology.
You know what's random? Nashville has a full-scale replica of the Parthenon in a park.
I've heard that.
Really?
It's so weird, and it has the roof and everything because the Turks never went there and blew it up by storing dynamite in it.
Yeah. Where is that?
Nashville.